Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And after I woke up from a 12-hour sleep last night recovering from the Boston Major, I woke up to the craziest timeline. Crimsix joining FaZe Clan, not as a content creator or anything like that, but as a professional gamer yet again, this time as a sim racer, alongside all the other Rostermania drama going on, not just in Call of Duty today. So very much enjoying your thoughts in the comment section below. Loads to dive into today. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, I know you guys mentioned while I was away that sometimes a lot of you guys actually seem to prefer the background with no green screen, which I'm totally fine with either way. So I'll keep it like this for now. And if you guys want the green screen back then, feel free to let me know. But I mean, yeah, what an absolutely mad timeline. Quick note as well, because we've got to discuss Florida Mutineers first and all the drama that's going on in that camp. There are some options for them. Apparently, Iron Blood Gaming, that organization that's been around in the challenges a bit, they might be dipping out. Bristini, Gunless, Bink, and Pentagram going their separate ways. Pentagram, we believe, will be joining Boston Academy, right, with Doug now being an AR over there. But apparently, Pristini and Gunless, Big P, Little P are going to stay together in challenges, and that's one update on that side of things. But this is what the Mutineers do. So I don't know what they're thinking, to be honest, but this is their plan. Major Maniac, of course, has been released from the team. The reason why they're doing this and not leaving him as a bench player is probably because they've got many other changes planned and someone else they want to put back to their bench, as we shall see in a second. The other confirmation they make is that Vickle now is on the bench. So, you know, tricky situation with Vickle, because I do think that he was a valuable part of this team. I think there's an argument to say that there are upgrades for him in terms of the SMG role, but, you know, the thing is with Vickle is that the longer you keep him, I think the better he's going to get, and the frustrating part for, I'm sure, for Vickle and also for others watching this is like, well, they don't really give him that long to develop and improve, because I think, to be honest, he did pretty much what was expected of him since joining this team. And I also found it a little bit strange. Okay, this, I mean, they could have just done this image with their kind of release or, you know, benching him at an announcement tweet, but they put this one in as well, which is like, I mean, I don't know, it's not exactly the image you'd expect to be aligned with announcing this guy has effectively been dropped from your team. He's on the bench still, and maybe will return in the future, especially because many around the community made their thoughts very clear that this is a big mistake by the Mutineers. Eric Boom says from the Spanish scene, people don't have a clue how important Vickle is on that team. Worst move I've ever seen in my entire life. And then even Scrappy getting involved. Scrappy and Vickle teamed together last year on Toronto Ultra Academy NA. Of course, he's from Spain originally, but he's over there in the US now and was on Ultra NA last year. As Scrappy says, you guys are tweaking. The only reason you'll even get 150 points at a hard point. So this is a great violation from Scrappy to the Mutineers. Not just saying that they're making a terrible decision, but also saying they're so bad that they'd get, like, you know, they'd get 50 points. Maybe they'd get 100 points without Vickle, but they get 150 with him. So that's pretty funny stuff. And then Octane replies and says, good lord, that's an absolute violation. And then Scrap doubles down. My dog Bagged Hill, while his other three teammates play SD the whole map. So I thought this is fantastic. So, I mean, yeah, here we go. Scrappy is basically saying the terrible call, of course. Look, he's going to rep Vickle, and Scrappy has been very clear since he's been in the Pro League that he wouldn't be in this position with the kind of, you know, the popularity that he has gained without his teammates last year, in part making him look very good. Vickle included. So he's going to back those guys up. Hicksy, of course, another one that he was teamed with last year as well. But Vickle got his chance now in the league. And as he says, he was the one going into the hard points first. He was the guy making the plays. And then his other three teammates are so slow, they're just playing search and destroy the whole map. So, you know, do you guys think this is a good move? I think the Havoc, I mean, it's a tricky one, right? You probably want to upgrade your SMG line. I would say that if there was a change that's more likely to be made, maybe it's the Vickle one, but keeping in the bench is at least a good decision. I feel like releasing Vickle would have been a mistake. So, you know, I don't exactly hate this move. What I think is a little bit strange, though, is that Brack is now back. Now, I agree with Brack being back, but it's like, why was he gone in the first place? I just don't understand the decision-making there to bring in Dave and Major. Like, how is that ever going to work? I just don't understand why that was even necessary. Okay, they did the announcement video, Brack, we messed up, all this type of stuff. And, you know, Havoc even said on stream that they dropped him for pacing and stuff, and it seems like, you know, if you're saying you dropped Brack for pacing issues, but you bring in Dave Paddy for him, and obviously that's not going to help the pacing be quicker at least, or probably more on the same page. So it seems to me that, like, that kind of cover story of, oh yeah, they dropped him for pacing or whatever, was just to kind of say they don't really want to play with the guy anymore, which, and now they're bringing him back, so I don't know what's going on in that team, to be honest. Now, I'm happy that Brack is back, don't get me wrong, I think this is a good decision, and it was a mistake to drop him in the first place. He was their best player statistically for the first part of the season. But of course, that's not it for this story, right? Because they've still got to find another SMG. So I guess Dave Paddy is still there for now, although some rumours are being had here, and as Ronnie says, actually, it's meant to be a three-man move with only Havoc staying. So apparently Dave was in, and now he might be gone again. So they're doing trials in multiple different roles, one of which, you know, mostly in the SMG department, but also people are suggesting suggesting that probably Dan Ghosty is going to get a trial here, who's been one of the top challenger players recently. So potentially Dan Ghosty in for Dave Paddy, Brack in for Major Maniac. That does definitely up their pacing a lot, which I think is probably what they needed to do. Doesn't make their search better, I don't know. But also they want to replace some SMG for Vickle, of course, alongside Havoc. I would say that the likes of Capstol should be in the consideration there. But yeah, they might be going for almost an entire squad wipe, just keeping Havoc, which I don't think is really a mistake. Whether they actually choose the best players from the options they have, that's the question. And doing trials now is quite the interesting timing, just because there's not realistically that long. I mean, the teams are going to restart scrims today, so I'm guessing they're going to hold tryouts over the next couple of days with a couple of ARs and a couple of SMGs. So it seems to me that, okay, Dave Paddy's probably gone for a couple of ARs unless they feel like they can't upgrade from Dave Paddy they currently have. Brack, of course, we know is back in. Havoc will stay, and they're looking for a replacement for Vickle. So maybe they'll get Cat, maybe they'll get someone else. We'll see about that one. But they're going to have to certainly accelerate this decision to where they normally would, because, I mean, there isn't that much time to make the decision. The league starts again next weekend. They don't have a couple of weeks or 2-3 weeks to do these trials. They've got a matter of a couple of scrim sets to make their decision, which is not going to be so easy for them to make the right one, especially because Florida struggle at the best of times to make the right decision. And even as RC says, you know, sup down, you know the deal, scrims soon. So maybe saying that, okay, either RC is playing against Dan Ghosty's team, or more than likely, possibly, Dan Ghosty will be getting some sort of trial on Mutineers, and they might play Los Angeles Guerrillas at some point or another. And if that goes well, maybe they keep Dan Ghosty around. It's certainly been one of the top kind of flex players in the challenger scene for a little bit at the moment. The other side, though, of this Rostermania saga is with this man, none other than Ian at Crimsix Porter. So that's all the updates on the Call of Duty Rostermania stuff, but that's not where it ends for the day. Now, the other day, we saw that Crimsix, of course, came on the OpTic podcast, or came on the OpTic watch party, right? And the rumours at the time were, especially with what Hex was saying and what Scump was saying, and given, like, how good it is to see these guys back on stream, I feel like when Crimsix is next to Scump, you get, like, a pack-a-punch version of Scump as well on these shows. Very entertaining stuff. And we thought, okay, well, Zinni's probably joining OpTic now. Maybe Crim comes back to OpTic as well. Of course, there's Karma there, there's Formal there, there's Scump there. Would kind of make sense for the Dynasty to be reunited at some point. Yes, the bridges are maybe a little bit burned, but, you know, I'm sure they can heal over time. And I thought, okay, the time probably hasn't come quite yet, but relatively soon, OpTic Crimsix is going to be a thing. Almost the complete opposite occurred last night, with Crim confirming that, and I was like sound asleep, I slept for so long last night while this occurred, but it joined FaZe Clan, he says. So, and you can see his Porsche in the foreground here. Now, this is like so crazy to me, really, just because, like, it's, as I say, it's almost the opposite of what we expected, right? We thought maybe OpTic Crim would be a thing. Now it's FaZe Crim, but it's not FaZe Crim as a content creator. It's FaZe Crim, once again, as a professional gamer back in business, baby. I thought it was funny because there was almost some teasing on this the other day. This interview I did with Sasha here at the Major. Austin, dude, you're so cool. And then, you know, Sasha comes back with, nice, you're so cool as well. So now part of the same organization. Pretty crazy. Now, Gersh talked to me on Tuesday at the venue and said that they had a sim racing team in the works here, FaZe. And he was very excited about it. And he was like, oh yeah, you'll know some of the guys on the team. And I was like, I don't really follow sim racing particularly closely. I follow F1 Esports a bit. But I was like, okay, I know a lot of the F1 Esports drivers, but I kind of doubt they're coming to FaZe to compete in an entirely new game that's just being launched. So the way he said it was like, okay, it's still be some big personality or some big name that I would know from sim racing. Now, I didn't really put two and two together at the time that it was going to be Ian Crimsix Porter, because, you know, my perception was that Crim is content guy, wants to maybe pursue that more. But no, Crim's still got the drive in him for, and it's funny really, because Formal retired from COD, gone to compete in Halo at a high level, and apparently Crim is going to do the same thing here. Now, of course, there's been some immediate jokes about this, right? Because Crim is not exactly a track okay, he's raced on track in real cars, but he's not exactly a sim racer by heritage. And a lot of the guys he's going to be competing against are like legitimately, yeah, legit sim racers that are very, very good indeed. Whether Crimsix is going to be at the level he needs to be at, I don't know. But this weekend, there's a tournament in Katowice in Poland that he's going to be attending. And it's for a brand new game, I believe, that's just launched. I forget exactly the name of the game, but it's the ESL R1 series that is just coming out. And they're launching, like, I think FaZe and other organizations as well are getting involved in this one. And a lot of esports teams are signing sim racing teams for this. And Crim to be on the FaZe team is just hilarious to me. So there's a $500,000 prize pool on the line. And I'll just share what Crim had to say on this on the flank last night when he explains how long this has been kind of ready to go for. He's been, like, he knew he was going to do this when he retired. It was a question of, you know, whether it was going to happen, whether it was falling through, and, you know, whether he could actually lock this in. But
I've known about this for about a year.
A year? Was it actually that long?
What?
Yeah. So pretty much, I don't know. It's always been on my mind. Like the New York team knew. It's to me, it's gonna be tough at the start, but that's why I bought this whole thing, you know. And anyone who was watching me back right when I retired, like dude, I was dropping weight fast, you know, fast as hell, and pretty much it sort of fell through for a little bit. That's when I stopped the sim racing stuff, and literally just like 2 weeks ago, picked back up. Okay, Gersh said they did. Yeah, it's on Rensport. It's not out yet.
Oh, dope.
So yeah, I have not. Like I can't stream it. I can't post videos on it yet, which we got to figure that out. But it's pretty much a new, you know, sim racing game, and I think from what my teammates told me today is that this is like the highest level of competition that sim racing has like ever had. And I'm sitting there like,
yeah.
Oh no,
you're so
man.
new to it,
no.
you know?
Yeah, dude. Like, I was literally reading on Reddit. People were talking about it. They're like calling me the censor of the sim racing thing. I'm like,
way, dude.
I'm like, that's out of line. But that's fair.
I saw that.
That's fair.
I did see that.
So what about that then? FaZe Crimsix, and actually they reached out for an exclusive statement here to Certo, and Crim simply says, "This is the real reason why I quit." Now, you know, I don't know if that's fully true, just because it did seem like maybe he was going to still compete in COD, but didn't have the options there after the Vanguard season. But nonetheless, obviously this was lined up while he was on New York subliners, and he was thinking, you know what, maybe he hasn't quite got what it takes in COD anymore, wants to take his talents to, well, to another kind of arena. But the game is just launching. He's got the massively expensive sim rig anyway at home that clearly has been designed for alternate purposes than maybe we initially thought. I just thought he did it for the good times. I didn't really realize there was more to the sim rig than just a hobby that Crim has. But yeah, and also FaZe Crimsix means that we are going to get more flank episodes with Crim as well, I'm sure, because the flank is kind of like a FaZe property, really. And, you know, with Zuma there and Kirsch and all this, and now Crim being on FaZe as well, like we're probably getting a fair few flank episodes with Crimsix, which is always very entertaining. So yeah, what do you guys think about this, right? I mean, an absolutely mind-blowing timeline that Crim is now on FaZe, but it's going to be exciting to watch because I feel like this channel is, okay, we talk about the CDL predominantly, but really I think what we talk about here is like personalities within the competitive Call of Duty esports space, whatever they might happen to be doing. So Foreman in Halo, we talk about him. Crim in like sim racing, whatever this new game is, the R1 series he's now doing. We're certainly going to talk about him as well. So hopefully it works out. Of course, yes, people were calling him the Doug Sense Martin or, you know, of sim racing, which might be justified, right? Because, you know, I don't know, I haven't watched too much of him sim race, but I imagine he's not quite on the pace that he needs to be at right now. Hopefully he can get there, and we'll see down the line. But of course, brand new game, maybe he's just godlike at this game, and hopefully he is. Will be very entertaining to see. So yeah, very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. And just a couple of Brian stats to mention before we close out the video here, that Crim did retire with just about a winning record against FaZe. He had a dominant winning record during his pre-CDL era, and then went 3-16 against Simp, aBeZy, and Cellium that kind of hurt that big time throughout the CDL era. But now he's actually joining FaZe in quite a remarkable set of circumstances. But hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.